Good morning and welcome back to Margin. This morning we're going to talk about how you should rent your home when you move. So let's jump right into it. So most of us don't think very transactionally when it comes to buying or selling our own homes, as we may become attached to why we purchased the home in the first place and have a hard time, selling it and letting it go. But when it is time to move on from that house, it is important to not only look at what the home would sell for, but also other options, considering what it may look like as a long-term or short-term rental, depending on the neighborhood, depending on the price point, and so on and so forth. So when you're looking at evaluating it, you'll want to look at, okay, what does my house cost to upkeep? Do I have a lawn? Do I have special features of my house that I would need to maintain at a certain level? Now, you may rightfully be concerned about having a long-term tenant in the home who may not care to cover the expenses and care for the home the way that you did. Now, these are valid concerns, but before just selling your home and moving on, you may want to consider what the home would actually rent for, furnished or unfurnished. Now, I would start by looking at one of the many rental property sites like Zillow Rentals, for example. Now, you can look at the estimated rental price for your home as well as those in your area. And if you are really unsure as to what it would go for based on the improvements maybe that you've made, you may consider reaching out to a property management company. Now, this property management company can then provide you with a proper estimate. Now, of course, keep in mind that typically with property management companies, they're going to try to sell you on their services, which their services will cost you between 8 and 12% of your gross rent per month if you actually have it professionally managed. Now, another option may be turning your home into a short-term rental using a platform like Airbnb or VRBO. Now, these platforms are optimized for consumer-to-consumer transactions and communication, and will allow you to list your property fully furnished and outfitted in order for other people like you to rent your home. Now, the benefits of having a short-term rental is the ability to charge per night, adjusting based on seasonality and popularity based on events going on in your town, in your city during certain times of the year. So this can actually increase your returns and improve your returns. Now, if it's managed properly, another benefit is the ability to not be locked into a lease in the event that you actually do want to sell the property, that you do see those indicators that it is time to sell your property. Now, for example, let's just assume that someone has a $325,000 home that they would like to rent, and maybe for a long-term standpoint, they can rent it at $1,800 per month. Now, let's assume that they instead rent it as a VRBO at $135 a night. Now, depending on your market, let's say you could actually get $135 per night, and the cleaning fee and the cost to turn that place over each night was actually covered in the fees for that room or for that space. Now, if you have that property rented for half the month or 15 days, you would actually gross $2,025. Now, that's more than you could actually rent that house for the month, but you would also be covering utilities and aspects like that. So if you rented the house, let's say for 20 days a month, you would gross $2,700 per month. And if you were at full capacity, you could gross $4,050 based on a 30-day month. Now, of course, you need to factor in wear and tear, turnover costs, and the like. But with a short-term rental, this may be an option that may be a good option for someone not quite ready to commit to selling, but also not really wanting to commit to a long-term rental agreement. Now, how do you know which option is right for you? I would recommend you just try it out. try out the option that you can pivot from easiest, which is the short-term rental option as a vacation rental. Now, if this is not a good fit, try doing month-to-month, renting rooms to college students, or moving to a long-term lease option if you decide to keep the house. Now, you may be able to find one that works right away for you without trying a bunch of different methods, but this will ensure that you are finding one that you're actually comfortable with, that fits your lifestyle and how you want to operate. Now, if you don't need to use the equity from that home, from the sale of that home for another property or another purchase, you may want to consider renting out your home instead of selling it so that you are able to take advantage of growth in the value of that property, depreciation and other aspects from a write-off standpoint, and you'll be able to use that property as a passive income source. Now, my call to action today is to look at options with your current home if you are actually planning to sell it in order to make a move. You may be able to use it as a means of a relatively passive income source instead of just selling it and moving on. So something to consider. If this information is helpful to you, please do like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you're reminded to connect on a daily basis and improve in managing your personal finances. Thank you for your time. Enjoy your day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.